Welcome back. Every day, we're surrounded by a symphony of sounds, from the rustling of leaves to the distant hum of traffic. But among these, the sounds of human speech stand out, carrying stories, emotions, and ideas. But how do we, as listeners, transform this intricate sound pattern into meaningful words, sentences, and narratives? That's the magic of speech perception. In this video, we'll unravel the processes that allow us to comprehend spoken language, making sense of the sounds that shape our social world. When we think of speech, it's tempting to imagine it as a simple sound sequence of words. But in reality, speech is a complex, continuous stream of sounds. There aren't clear pauses between most words, especially when we're engaged in natural conversation. This poses an intriguing question. How does our brain effortlessly pick out individual words from these continuous streams? This phenomenon, known as speech segmentation, is one of the first challenges our auditory system overcomes. For instance, consider the phrase, "I scream." Now think of ice cream. Audibly, they sound incredibly similar. Yet based on context, our brain can easily differentiate between a vocalized desire and a delightful dessert. This ability to segment and interpret speech is crucial. It allows us to understand not just words, but the emotions, intentions, and nuances behind them. It's a skill evolution has honed over millennia, and without doubt, it's among the biggest contributors to how humans have built societies and technologies. At the core of our understanding of speech are phonemes. These are the smallest units of sound in a language that can distinguish one word from another. Think of them as atoms of spoken language. For example, the difference between the words bat and pat lies in the initial phoneme. A simple change, but it transforms the entire meaning of the word. This distinction is rooted in what we call the voice onset time, or VOT, the time between the release of the blockage, like our lips parting, and the start of vocal cord vibration. For B and bat, the VOT is very short, almost instantaneous. The vocal cords start vibrating almost immediately as the lips part. On the other hand, for P, in pat, there's a slight delay between the lips parting and the vocal cords vibrating, making it an aspirated sound. This minute difference in VOT is crucial for our brain to categorize and perceive these sounds as distinct phonemes, showcasing the precision and sensitivity of our auditory processing. In English alone, there are 44 phonemes, even though we have only 26 letters in the alphabet. As an aside, this means that in English, some phonemes must be represented by combinations of letters, like TH in think or SH in shine. In contrast to English, some languages have more direct relationships between their writing system and phonemes. Take Finnish, for instance. Finnish has a phonemic orthography, where each letter of the alphabet consistently represents a specific sound. This means that if you know the rules, you can pronounce Finnish words correctly just by seeing them written, and you can spell them correctly just by hearing them. Our ability to recognize and differentiate between these phonemes is crucial. It's the foundation upon which we build our understanding of spoken language. And while it might seem instinctive to you now, having grown up speaking a language, but it's a skill we develop as we grow, starting from infancy. From the moment we're born, we begin to become attuned to the sounds of our native language. Infants, for instance, can differentiate between all phonemes, but as they grow, this ability narrows down to the phonemes they hear spoken around them, their native tongue. This phenomenon, known as perceptual narrowing, highlights how early experiences shape our speech perception. By the age of 10 months, babies already show a preference for the rhythms and melodies of their native language. But it's not just about early exposure. Adults learning a new language can attest to the challenges of perceiving unfamiliar phonemes or tones. However, with consistent practice and exposure, the brain's plasticity allows us to adapt and refine our speech perception, even in adulthood. While we've discussed the foundational elements of speech perception, there's another layer to this intricate process that we know well: top-down processing. How our knowledge, expectations, and context influence what we hear. Imagine listening to a conversation in a bustling cafe. Amidst the clatter of dishes and murmurs, you still manage to focus on your friend's story about their recent vacation. This ability to selectively attend to your friend's voice is a prime example of top-down processing, and it's often referred to as the cocktail party effect. Our brain uses its stored knowledge and expectations to fill in gaps, making sense of partially heard or ambiguous sounds. Ever noticed how you can understand a song's lyrics better after reading them once? That's top-down processing at work. Moreover, our experiences and cultural background can also shape our speech perception. Accents, dialects, and even regional slang are more easily understood when we're familiar with them, thanks to this cognitive framework. A classic experimental example showcasing top-down processing is the phonemic restoration effect. If a cough or another noise obscures part of a spoken word, our brain can fill in the gap based on the context, making us believe we heard the entire word. Although the telephone and other voice-only technologies have been common for a century, it's important to remind ourselves that this technical ability is extremely recent and that we evolved for face-to-face communication. So for speech perception, our eyes play a surprising role too. Demonstration of the influence of visual information on speech is the McGurk effect. In the McGurk effect, when the auditory component of one sound is paired with the visual component of another, what we perceive often is a third sound that's entirely different from the sounds presented. For instance, when the visual of a person saying ga is paired with the audio of someone saying ba, many people hear the sound da.
Ba, ba, ba.
It's a clear testament to how our brain integrates both visual and auditory information to make sense of speech. This effort underscores the importance of visual context in speech perception. It's not just about the sounds we hear, but also about the visual cues we receive. Our brain constantly merges these inputs, ensuring we get a coherent understanding of spoken language. At the root of our ability to understand speech, whether in quiet situations or noise, as well as integrate auditory and visual information, is an ability referred to as categorical perception. It's the phenomenon where continuous changes in a stimulus are perceived as belonging to discrete categories. When we hear sounds, certain features of those sounds can typically be described as lying on a continuum. Yet our brain has this incredible ability to bucket these sounds into distinct categories. This is especially true when it comes to phonemes. Consider the sounds ba and pa again. The difference between them is the voice onset time, the time between the release of the blockage, like parting our lips, and the start of vocal cord vibration. While there's a continuous range of possible voice onset times across speakers, we don't hear them as a gradient. Instead, there's a clear boundary where we suddenly switch from hearing ba to pa. This abrupt shift is the essence of categorical perception. Interestingly, this boundary can vary across languages and cultures. What might be ba in one language could be closer to pa in another, based on their categorical boundaries. Research has shown that infants as young as 1 month old exhibit signs of categorical perception. However, as they grow and are exposed to their native language, these categories become more refined and specific to the sounds in that language. Of course, this phenomenon isn't just about distinguishing ba and pa. It's about how our brain organizes and interprets the vast array of sounds we encounter, ensuring efficient and accurate communication. While our earlier discussions touched upon the initial auditory processing, the true marvel lies in the brain's specialized regions dedicated to speech perception. Historically, our understanding of these regions came from observing patients with brain injuries. lesions in specific areas led to distinct speech and language deficits, paving the way for neurologists to map out the brain's speech centers. One of the most significant discoveries was Wernicke's areas, located in the posterior part of the temporal lobe. Damage here often results in fluent but nonsensical speech, indicating its role in language comprehension. Adjacent to this, the planum temporale and the superior temporal gyrus process complex sounds, transforming them into recognizable speech patterns. Broca's area, in the frontal lobe, was another pivotal discovery. Patients with damage here often produce slow, effortful speech, revealing its role in speech production and grammar. The angular gyrus bridges the gap between recognizing written words and transforming them into speech sounds, a process vital for reading aloud. These discoveries, combined with modern techniques like fMRI, have allowed us to map the brain's intricate pathways and understand the marvel of speech perception. While words and grammar are essential components of speech, there's another layer that adds depth and emotion to our communication: prosody. Prosody refers to the rhythm and stress and intonation of speech. It's the reason a statement can become a question just by changing the pitch at the end, or why a single word can convey sarcasm or sincerity based on its delivery. Consider the word really. Said in a flat tone, it's a simple acknowledgement, but stretch it out with a rising pitch, really? And suddenly it's dripping with skepticism. Prosodic cues are processed in the right hemisphere of the brain, particularly in regions like the right superior temporal gyrus. These cues help us decipher the speaker's mood, intent, and emphasis, adding a rich layer of meaning to spoken words. In essence, prosody is the melody of speech, turning plain sentences into expressive symphonies of human emotion and intent. From the intricate mechanics of our auditory system to the complexities of top-down processing, speech perception is a marvel of human cognition. It's a dance of biology and experience, of the sound waves and neural pathways. Every conversation, every word we understand is a testament to this incredible process. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of the human brain and its capabilities, one thing remains clear: our ability to communicate, to perceive speech, is one of our most profound and defining traits. I'll see you in the next video.